To begin with, I would like to mention Sierra Leone because Sierra Leone is a country we all know that very small country that is hardly known or noticed or that it exists due to its small size. Sierra Leone is located on the west coast of Africa and it shares borders with Guinea and Liberia. And the country has an impressive or hosts an impressive diversity of at least 650 bird species, and 19 of these species are classed as globally threatened. And the Timneh parrot, as you can see in the image here, is also globally threatened or endangered. The Timneh parrot was classified as a subspecies of the gray parrots, but in 2012, due to morphological and genetic characteristics, scientists were able to differentiate this species, and it is now considered as a separate species from the gray parrot. But interestingly, both species, the Timneh parrot and the gray parrot, are being classified as endangered on the IUCN Red List. Why does local ecological knowledge matters? It matters because it helps improve species monitoring. We all know local communities spend most of their time in forests, in coastal regions, so they better understand or have better observation of where these species live, what they feed on, or if their numbers are increasing or decreasing compared to what short-term research can provide. So local ecological knowledge matters because they also help observe critical habitat for these species, where they eat or feed, where they nest or roost. So these are all knowledge gaps that can be filled in by conducting local ecological knowledge, by asking and local community, and then providing the answers. So they also feel like they are being considered as partners and not as observers. And it also helps to improve or increase our effort in conservation by helping to protect these habitats that the species live and as well as protect the wildlife themselves. So these are some of the reason why we conduct local ecological knowledge research. So rapid assessment has been carried out in the coastal region of Sierra Leone by engaging local community participation, also doing direct field observations. And one of such survey or study has led to the discovering of an important population of the endangered Timneh parrots in these coastal regions of Sierra Leone. And the paper has been recently published in Malimbus. You can dig it up and read more, or it's better still send me an email or chat to share the paper. So this is some of findings or some of the things we get when we rely on local ecological knowledge. So like I mentioned earlier, we combine different projects, or the study was conducted across different regions in Sierra Leone. We conducted questionnaire surveys to get information from local participants in the Moyamba districts and that of the Shabro Island, all along the south, and it's dominated by mangrove habitat or ecosystem. Then Questionnaire surveys were also conducted in the Gola Rainforest National Park. So for this particular presentation, like I mentioned, it's a preliminary findings, and we'll be looking at the composition across these three landscape or location. To do that, we've been able to conduct biodiversity monitoring trainings where we train over 20 community parrot monitors on how to collect the information from the locals as seen in the pictures. So a total of 336 interviews were conducted across these three landscapes. 195 were conducted in Shabro. 91 of these questionnaires were administered in Gola and 100 in the Moyamba districts. We use the direct questionnaire approach in asking these questions. The results, we looked at the change in parrot population since childhood. Moyamba has Moyamba has the most people saying number have increased, while Gola has the most people saying the number have gone up, as you can see in the chart. Gola's this has to do with Gola's conservation program because it's the oldest of the three regions where we conducted the studies. So more people here in Gola admitted that there has been an increase since childhood until now in the population of the parrots compared to Moyamba. When we ask people when they last saw a parrot, most people in Gola and Shabro said most days the parrot have been seen, and in Moyamba, most days people said it's been much longer since they last saw one. That's the parrot. So people see the parrot most days in Gola and Shabro compared to that of Moyamba. And this is the reason why mostly local ecological knowledge is relevant, because it helps us to channel our efforts in where it matters most. Because in Shabro and Gola, the questionnaire administered to the respondents admitted that they see parrots in most days compared to when it's been seen in Moyamba. Shabro, of course, is a newer project than that of the Gola. So when we asked about the awareness talk, Shabro being the newest than that of Gola, people there have actually heard about awareness talk slightly more than that of Gola. Gola being a more Gola being a more conservation area that has been where conservation talk has been carried out, awareness program. So this tells us that in Moyamba, from the chart, less conservation awareness talk has been carried out compared to these two regions, which is the Shabro and Gola. When we asked about the trapping, if trapping happens in the community and if it is okay, in Shabro, fewer people say fewer people say no trapping happens than in other places compared to Gola and Moyamba. But almost everyone who said who says trapping does happen also says it is wrong. So people are being honest and they already think it is a bad thing to trap the parrot in their community. So we asked again about laws governing the parrot, and Gola knows the law best, and Shabro is closer behind. As you can see, we have higher percentage of people in Gola that are conversant with the laws governing the parrots, and Shabro is just close behind Gola, and Moyamba, of course, knows nothing about the law governing the parrots. So Shabro, of course, is doing better as expected because it is a newer project area compared to that of Gola, but the awareness raising or conservation effort there has been very high, and most participants are being aware of the law governing the parrots. And most people here in the Moyamba area don't have the awareness, or the law is not being disseminated to them that parrot trapping is wrong and it is illegal. So when we ask again if they like to own a parrot, Moyamba here is far the most interested in owning a parrot. Shabro and Gola are both low and similar to each other, as you can see. So from this chart, like I said, it's a preliminary result to just show the trend and what we've discovered so far and where to channel our efforts in, where to put more attention in conserving these parrots. Shabro is doing better than expected because it is a newer project area, and Gola is steady because this area has been in operation for a very long time, where conservation awareness program and conservation protection, habitat protection is on the high. And when we come to Moyamba, we notice that Moyamba needs the most attention compared to these two locations, that is the Shabro and the Gola landscape. So what we observe again from our we observe that trapping is a major threat to the Timneh parrot in these regions. As you can see in the picture, it is a common pet that is mostly being caged in community, and there is a need for us to channel more energy or attention in awareness raising in these regions. So what are some of these conservation strategies we've used, and how is it going? Some, of course, is already ongoing, some is yet to be implemented, but we are helping to protect priority sites based on this local ecological knowledge, studies we've been doing, and some direct observation in the field. We've been able to identify some key biodiversity area, and that has been proposed for a Ramsar delineation, and as well as for KBA. So we also are doing sustained outreach. We are moving to communities, creating awareness and sensitization campaign, We we are also doing co-management agreements where we work closely with community and local stakeholders to also help in protecting this habitat and that of the wildlife itself. So with our partners again, the West Africa Blue, where we are conducting these studies and they are helping with data collection. They are also helping to provide the local communities with alternative livelihood supports. And all these things here will help to protect the habitat. They are helping to protect give livelihood opportunities to these communities through the blue carbon, and this also will help to create opportunities in the communities and as well as through ecotourism. So these are all some from the research that is ongoing we cater for in the short term. There are some challenges we faced with there are some challenges and opportunities we faced for that has informed the conservation in this area of the species. One thing we found more challenging has to do with that knowledge is unevenly distributed within the community. So it depends on what the answers you get depends on an occupation. So different age brackets in the community will tell you different things about the parrots. It's also the same with gender. More male than female knows more about the parrots as well as the occupation. So the knowledge here is unevenly distributed. But some of the opportunities we have been able to get by conducting this research has to do with the momentum towards KB and the Ramsar designation. Through our studies, we've been able to identify some key areas where the parrot roost, overnight roost, and that has helped in us to propose for the designation of the Ramsar site. So it also helps, like I mentioned, to improve the community livelihood through our partnership with the West Africa Blue and that of the Gola Rainforest. We have been able to provide or trying to provide some livelihood support that the community can benefit from, like the one I mentioned, the ecotourism, and as well as the carbon credits. So there has been also growing international support from BirdLife International, the World Parrot Trust, and other conservation grants for local ecological knowledge to dig further to know the story behind the conservation of this species. So these are all opportunities that these studies has so far provided. So the key message from or take home from this work, these preliminary results that we thought necessary to share, is that the local ecological knowledge gives a cost-effective and that of rich long-term insight beyond what field survey cannot give. And Sierra Leone, of course, mangroves and that of the Gola rainforest is a global stronghold for the timneh parrots. And if we have to be successful in this, we need sustained investment in stewardship. Community should be able to come up and serve as stewards and through community engagement and habitat protection. So these are the people that we acknowledged. the communities of the coastal region and the forest chiefdom across the study area for their time in helping us to fill in the questions, as well as APLORI, the World Parrot Trust, the West Africa Blue, our partners in helping to collect the data, the RSPB, Gola Forest, and the BirdLife International for their support by providing these small grants for this program in Guinea and Sierra Leone. Thank you.